Hello everyone. This is a follow-up video to my original Nexus NG-3 2x72 grinder unboxing and first impressions video that I made last year. It's been about 16 months since that video, and if you've watched my channel at all, then you've seen me use this thing on mild steel, high carbon steel knives, a sword even, wood, and I've also used it on foam and plastic. In case you've not seen that video, this grinder is hooked up to a 1.5 horsepower iron horse motor going through a K-Bach 27D variable frequency drive. The long and the short of it is, I love this thing. If you're looking to get more serious about your knife making or wanting to upgrade from a 1x30 or some other small belt grinder, then I would highly recommend going with this. That being said, do I love this grinder a lot because it's a Nexus NG-3 or because it's a 2x72? If I'm honest with you, probably because it's a 2x72 and it's just so versatile in the shop and makes grinding knives so much more quick. That is not a slight at Nexus either. They have amazing customer service, fast delivery, and top-notch fit and finish with all of their parts. It is definitely a high-quality, professional level machine. Is it better than a KMG or Broadbeck or Steelco grinder? No. Those grinders have different functionalities, like a tilt, some come pre-assembled so that there is no wiring left to the customer, or it comes with different contact wheels without needing to purchase separately. However, looking at the price of those, they are far more expensive than what I paid for my grinder. At the time when I bought it, I paid about $1,700 Canadian after buying a motor, VFD, the wiring, and everything I needed to get it set up. However, the new version this year comes with a spark guard and an aluminum D-plate instead of a steel one. The price has also increased for the base grinder by about $100 Canadian, which is to be expected, considering the state of the world and price of materials these days. To note, also, the steel grinder does not ship internationally and will only ship in the US, so for a Canadian, it's hard to use that as a comparison, but I'm going to include it anyway because there are ways, of course, to get things over the border. I have on screen now the prices of all of these 4 grinders that I've mentioned here, just as examples in both USD and Canadian. The taxes vary, and at the time you're watching this video, prices might vary as well. I put the Nexus price at $100 more than what I paid to get mine operational a year ago, just to make it fair for what someone watching this video today might have to pay. I'm going to look at all of these grinders in Canadian, just because I'm Canadian and that's what makes sense for me, but the US prices are there for you. You can see that the Nexus grinder, after I've got everything, is about $1,800. The KMG, $3,200 Canadian. This doesn't include shipping. The Nexus kind of does because that's how much I paid, but the other ones don't. The Broadbeck, $2,900 Canadian, and the Steel, $2,450 Canadian. Is the Nexus as good as these other 3? Probably not. Fit and finish wise, probably, but features and other things, no. However, is a KMG or a Broadbeck twice as good as the price is nearly double? It's hard to justify that. You could buy 2 of these grinders almost for the price of one of those. And I don't want to slight KMG or Broadbeck. I've heard that those machines are amazing, and if I could afford one, sure, I would buy one. But I can't afford to justify spending over $3,000 on something I do as a hobby. And I think that a lot of you who would be watching this video are in the same boat. Now, I know a lot of people have left comments or questions about the tilting feature on a grinder. And like I've been saying, no, Nexus doesn't come with that standard. However, Redbeard Ops has a great video that I'm going to link in the description on how to turn any grinder into a tilting grinder for cheap. Maybe $200 or so, depending on what materials you have on hand. And with that included, puts the Nexus at about $2,000 Canadian. Still over $1,000 cheaper than the KMG and almost $1,000 cheaper than the Broadbeck. Only $500 cheaper or so, but it doesn't ship to Canada. So that's another thing to consider. The next thing I want to address about my setup is horsepower. Some people have asked me if 1.5 horsepower is enough. And yeah, it is. I I've ran this grinder full speed, old belt, bearing down on the steel and really pushing it, trying to push the limits of this grinder. It's never bogged down on me, and it removes material extremely quickly. Belts are really the biggest factor when it comes to removing material, more so than horsepower. A brand new 36 grit belt at half speed will outperform a used 36 grit belt pressing really hard. But if you're like me, you're not made out of money. And the ability to replace belts quickly as if they cost nothing is not something we can all do. So using old belts hard on this grinder will not be a problem. The belt will actually slip off the wheels from being pushed so hard and losing tension against the wheels before it would ever bog down the motor. If you've watched my videos in the past, you might have seen me using a small wheel attachment along with a deflector wheel. These were also purchased from Nexus grinders, and they work fairly well. If you'd want to see a video on that in the future and get my full thoughts and feelings on it, let me know down in the comments, and I can make a video reviewing it. In summary, this is a really well built and finished grinder overall at a very reasonable price in the market. It has held up extremely well to every task I've asked of it, but if you're on a budget, or maybe even if you need a second grinder, and most importantly, if you live in Canada, this is an amazing option, and I hope that this video helps you in your decision-making process for buying a 2x72 grinder. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you all have a good day.